Leaders and healers, gamers and claimers, ladies and gentlemen from around the universe, from around the globe, from around the community, welcome to the Power, Purpose, and Passion podcast. I am your host, Anthony Cheam, speaker, life coach, trainer, author, musician, singer, songwriter, podcast host, friend to you, wanting so badly to give you the best of what I've learned, earned, and returned in this magical, majestic, beautiful life that I have been blessed with, to give to you the best of what I've learned over the past 20 years being in this industry, fitness industry, health industry, self-help industry, spiritual industry, coaching industry, because this podcast is all about helping you claim your power, clarify your purpose, and cultivate your deepest, widest, and highest passions possible. So ultimately, you can show up, grow up, upgrade, advance, and enhance your life and be the best version of yourself, or at least be a better version of yourself, continually upgrading and ultimately inspiring others to do the exact same. Because that's what life's about not just taking your life to the next level, but being an example of inspiration, an example of hope, an example of strength and fortitude for the people around you. And then the more you upgrade, the higher you bring your own vibrations to the earth, to the people around you, that people are going to feel it. People are going to be inspired by that and be uplifted by that. Because one of the things I do say to people is this: it's one thing to look for sources of inspiration, but a whole different element to actually be a source of inspiration. Don't look for love, be a source for love. Don't look for hope, be a source of hope for other people. That's where the whole game changes, is when you claim your power, when you claim these things, these powerful tools that you have access to, that everyone on earth has access to, and then you use it. And by using it, you grow, and by growing, you have more to contribute. So thank you for joining us on this podcast. And today, I have my power partner in crime, my power partner in rhyme, Cameron Dubé from Chatham, Ontario. He's the reason why I'm able to, to spread this message on these technological things, because I'm not necessarily good at it. I'd rather someone that's good at it do it and take over that, because I'm all about delegating something I'm not good at to somebody else that is good at it, and we can become a powerful team in joining our forces and our talents to make the world better. What's up, Cam? How you doing?
I'm doing very, very well. Unbelievably
Fantastic.
well. Fantastic. Wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah, terrific. Lately, I've been a big student. And I mean, we're talking about the power of being a student, the importance of remaining a student throughout your life, because a lot of people, after they graduate post-secondary or whatever, the learning stops there, They almost just get worse at things. They go back to a book and they're like, wow, how did I ever read fluently? Like, I'm just like skipping my words all the time. Stuff like that. But beyond that, I think it's important to remain a student to the fundamentals. And we talk about this all the time. And I'm super young, and I can't imagine. That's why I asked you before the show. I asked you if you still try new things, because you're twice my age. So
thanks for clarifying that.
No problem.
Thanks for reminding me.
I want everybody here to know that Anthony is twice my age. But I asked you if you ever tried new things, and you were talking about all these things you're always trying to do, and every moment it's like you're a child and you're like this whole world of exploration, and never ends, which is beautiful. And the other thing that I've been sort of remaining a student about is not expecting to be perfect, and actually not wanting perfection, because basically lately my goal has been to remain happy, to remain at peace, to remain confident in life and excited about life, because that's just who I am. Deep down, I just feel like I'm just this excited being that just wants to experience and create and share. That's me. And a lot of people, they get caught in the trap where it's like, I need to be that all the time. And for me, I actually really, really enjoy the moments that I slip up, because it's those moments where I write down, these are the things that make me slip up. Now I have something to work on. Now I have an area to grow in. So I think all the way around, there's always something you can learn. And I think it's what makes life, I mean, right now for me, exciting, and this feeling of growth, this feeling of movement, this feeling of not every day is the same boring day. The total opposite of that,
I think, you make a good point when it comes to education, formal education, and most people have this idea of the vaccination theory of education, where as soon as they finish school and they get vaccinated with this degree in Bachelor of Science or Master's degree, that as soon as they get it, life is over. They don't need to learn anymore. When the opposite is true. There's formal education and there's life education. And I love what Jim Rohn talks about. He says formal education will build you a life, but life education will build you a fortune. Not just in money terms and career terms, but in relationship terms and in confidence and becoming self-actualized, as Abraham Maslow talks about continually transcending where you are, continually growing. And one of my favorite lines I use on people is, and I got this from Jim Rohn, is working harder on yourself than you do your job. That's a fundamental thing that I've done for the past 15 years. Probably good, hard, probably 12 years, probably. But I started this journey about 15 years ago. 20 years ago, I kind of got into it, and then, I slip and fall. But like really in depth, 12, 13 years ago, I really started really working on myself. And as you work hard on yourself, and as you become a student, as you grow, you become a better coach, you become a better leader, but never forgetting that, you're always an eternal student. You're an eternal beginner, because that keeps you humble. I mean, I talked about this before, that my own addictions, my own flaws, my own idiosyncrasies, my own sort of shadow that I work on a consistent basis, because the shadow is always there, my own ego, my own inner cynic. I'm always working on those things, discussing those things, contemplating those things. I'm always working on it. It keeps me humble. And I often say to people, every moment of your life, your humble pie is always baking in the oven, and it's always served to you at the right moment you need it. Right? And, my humble pie is always waiting to be served to me with some ice cream, because if you get too cocky, pride goes before the fall. Those who will be humbled will be exalted, and those who will be exalted will be humbled, as Jesus said. So what we need to do is strive to be the best version of ourselves by becoming the best student of success, student of happiness. Tony Robbins talked about how Jim Rohn told him, if you want to be good at something, make it a study. You want to be happy, study happiness. If you want to be healthy, study health. Don't leave it to chance. And there's particular fundamentals and steps people take to become strong, healthy, vibrant, rich, spiritual, more compassionate, more patient. Study people that have done it before, and you will accelerate your growth. Like, think about someone that has written a book, 30 years of their experience. You read that one book, and everything you need to learn is in that one book about success, but the 30-year journey that this person took. And what essentially happens is, you could read this book, interview this person, and then save you 25 years and accelerate your growth in 5 years. That's what I mean about being a student, an eternal student. I'm constantly learning through books and seminars and audios. And as I say to people, and I'm going to reinforce this, the person that's listening to this actual podcast the most is actually the person talking, me. The person that's actually telling you this stuff is my mentor used to always tell me that. He said, Anthony, we teach that which we need to learn the most. So whatever you think you need to teach to the world is really subconsciously, it actually be in a mirror. It has to be put in your face. So I remember one of my coaches did this to me, and I remember I was talking about some advice to my coach, and I actually have used this before, by the way. And the coach said, "Can you say that again?" And my coach brought a mirror out and put the mirror in my face and said, "Can you say that again?" And I'm like, she's like, yeah, because the person that needs to listen to this the most is you. So remember that. So the things that we want so badly to teach someone, if we want to teach someone about patience, maybe perhaps you need to learn about patience. If you want to teach someone about not being narcissistic and cocky, maybe you need to take your ego down a few notches too. It's good to reflect on these things. And becoming an eternal student doesn't mean you aren't a master, but what it means is you're humble enough to go, there's still another level of greatness. There's still another level of growth I can take my life. It's like your phone. I just got a new phone last week. It's the S10. Within a few months, the S11 is going to come out, and the S12. And there's constant upgrades in software and hardware upgrades. We constantly think about upgrading our computer, our phone, whatever it might be, whatever technological thing we're looking at, but we're never thinking about upgrading our mind. We're upgrading our brain, upgrading our heart, upgrading our body. And you talk about me being 40, I'm going to be honest with you, Cam, and I'm telling you this absolute trust and total truth that I'm 40, but I feel better now than I've ever felt in my whole entire life in terms of overall health, overall happiness, overall success, overall well-being. just because all areas of my life are being upgraded. That doesn't mean every area of my life is going well. There are seasons of life in every area. You might be in the season of spring in your finances, and the season of winter in your relationships, or the season of summer in your money situation, and then the season of fall in where you're reaping your harvest in your career, whatever it might be. And there are seasons of life all the time. And as the wave of life hits its peak, and you think you're gonna ride that wave forever, what happens when a wave hits its peak? Boom, it's already crashing on its way down. And the same goes for when it hits its valley. As soon as the wave hits its valley, it's already on its way up. So the key is to navigate yourself through the peaks, to be appreciated for the peaks of life, be a student and ride those waves, but also understand and know and be a student that says life is not meant to be at peaks all the time. It's going to be in waves, peaks and waves, peaks and waves, mountains and valleys. And part of my growth and my own journey of success about life, about happiness, of spiritual enhancement has always been about being humble, always about, showing up with a humble heart, of teaching, of preaching, of being a student, practicing, teaching, learning, contemplating, meditating, praying, whatever it takes for me to become the best version. Because ultimately what it comes down to, what I'm saying is unscripted. I believe truly a lot of the things I say, how I say it, how I articulate, is a result of me being a student of speaking. I mean, I've studied from some of my favorite orators and speakers, reading, expanding my vocabulary, becoming a student of the English language, becoming a student of writers, becoming a student of music, of letting go of inspiration. I'm constantly reading, listening, opening up my heart, opening up my soul, so I could be a greater vessel for strength and inspiration, so that so that energy brings out the best in other people. So becoming an eternal student, quite frankly, is probably one of the greatest principles that I can teach anybody, because the people that are eternal students will always keep on growing, that are humble enough to go, I'm a student. You take a look at a guy like, Roger Federer. People that are sports fanatics know who Roger Federer is. He's won 20 Grand Slams in tennis, the greatest tennis player of all time, and he still has a coach. So if that guy needs a coach, then we all need a coach. We all need someone to teach us from a book or from a seminar or one-on-one private coaching or whatever it might be. And I mean, in my life, I have plenty of coaches. I mean, I was just telling Cam before we went on air here that my goal was to do an Ironman, or at least a half an Ironman, before the age of 40. I'm now 40, and I haven't done an Ironman, but because I didn't, I hired my friend has done a couple Ironmans, and I went to her and I said, could you teach me how to properly train for it, nutrition-wise? She's like, yeah, absolutely. She's like, but before I warn you, it's a lot of time. It's like, for an Ironman, 25, 30 hours a week of commitment. And I went, whoa. She's like, so before you do that, you have 2 kids. So you might want to think about that, because your wife is not going to like you very much if you spend an extra 25, 30 hours a week, or you can reduce your hours of working. Well, but I forewarned you. So she was coaching me, because she did her Ironmans well before she had kids. And so she said, I'm just letting you know that you won't have much time for anything else. And any time that you do have, you're going to be sleeping. So either do it now and reduce your hours at work, or wait till your kids finally graduate, and then that way you can commit to time. Because time with my kids, they're only young once. So she was coaching me, and thank God she did, and I'm glad I made that choice. Even though that was a personal goal of mine, I now know that goal probably would have ruined my relationship. Not ruined, but would have certainly tipped the scales in a negative way if I decided to take that route. So we all need that. We all, anytime when I wanted to become an author, I would talk to authors. If I wanted to become a singer or songwriter, I talk to other singers and songwriters and musicians. If I wanted to be a marathon runner, I go to the running room and talk to runners and people that are avid runners. Seek people out that are doing what you want to do or want to learn, and you will accelerate your growth in every area of your life. And kudos to the people that listen to this show on a consistent basis, because you are a student. You are a student of what we're trying to teach here, about perennial wisdom, about spirituality, about success, about, life principles. Principles are timeless, practices are timely. Principles are like from the Bible, even before the Bible. They're timeless, but practices from where we are in this world are timely. So practice principles, practice certain practice like meditation, learn from someone who's meditating, yoga, tai chi, anything. It doesn't matter. Whatever area you want to upgrade, become a student, humble yourself to that teaching, and you will unearth the greatness that is in you, that is within you, innately in you, and you will set this world on fire in such a an amazing and magnificent way. And I hope one day that you and I meet, whoever and wherever you are listening to this, whether it be actively or passively on this podcast. I'd love to meet you one day and hope that, this show has impacted your life and it led you to the next upgrade in your life, and we can be friends and become friends, and then we can ignite the world together. Well, any thoughts there, Cam?
Amen.
Once again, man. Any added thoughts there, man? Like, with regards to what I was saying, how what do you think about that?
I think it's important, obviously, like you said, to know when, maybe I shouldn't. Because if I would have said yes to the Ironman, we probably wouldn't have this podcast, that's for sure.
Oh, for sure.
So, that's that. A lot of people don't know when to say no to themselves, in a sense, in that, like when it comes to those kind of things. Which good for you for doing that, because you obviously seem like the type that is constantly like getting things done and going after his goals and taking action and never quits. And you did a marathon, did you not?
I did a marathon back in 2014, actually. Yeah, I did.
So you did a marathon, so you're like, I need to top myself. I need to do an Ironman now.
You're right. I know exactly.
And sometimes it's okay to be just as happy with less. Yeah. Essentially.
Yeah. Agreed. Amen.
Sometimes less is more. Sometimes.
So I think on being quite honest with you, I'm learning as I'm getting older, and I'm discovering less actually is more. I'd say 99.9% of the time. And what I mean by that is minute awareness of the little small things that are impacting our life. I mean, I was walking the other day, and I saw a caterpillar on a tree leaf, and like before, I would care less about that stuff, but my spiritual, like I was being drawn into the majesty of life was pulling me in, and I couldn't help but just look at this caterpillar, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that caterpillar is going to enter into its chrysalis form and then become a butterfly. And I was literally contemplating that, just like we humans, we're amazing, but when you marvel at something as beautiful as a caterpillar, and then it goes into its chrysalis, you can't help but you can't even be arrogant anymore, because it's not you that's doing it. Because if it was you that was doing that, it's you that's beating your own heart. Imagine you were given this task to beat your own heart every second, ba-bump, ba-bump, and you actually had to pump your own heart. It's not you that's doing it, right? And I sat in amazement. And to your point, it's appreciating the small things. And that moment literally changed my life. It actually that was my upgrade for that day. I'm like, wow, appreciating and understanding the small things and contemplating life, contemplating your breath, contemplating just the idea that you can see, just the idea that the sun is shining right now for you. Every single person on this planet are beneficiaries of the sun that shines for you, that the ocean flows for you, that you get to swim in it, that you get to use it to travel on cruises, that you get to drink from the water. And every time you drink from your sink, you don't have to walk 12 kilometers. Or every time you put salt on your salad, you don't have to go mine them in some mining place, from some far out place. Or every time you put on socks, you didn't have to go make your own socks. Every time you brush your teeth, someone made that toothbrush, someone made those dental floss. And just understanding how blessed you are. We talked about this on the last podcast, and becoming a student of just being aware of how blessed you are. I think that's a great part of it too. So thank you guys for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure and a privilege to be on the show with you and be able to give to you and serve to you and provide this wisdom. And hopefully it's helping you. I know it's helping me, because the fact that it's helping you is helping me, and the fact that it's helping me is helping you. And together we win. And one of my original mentors used to say the acronym for team, TEAM, is together everyone achieves more. And it goes back to that African proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together as a team. So thank you for joining us to your continued upgrade and evolution. Live it up with power, purpose, and passion. God bless you guys.